Let's move on now to the Kada Scott case. Dave, why don't you take our viewers through this very briefly? What's going on there?
Well, the latest is that they've got this suspect and they've made an arrest. And this happened in Philadelphia, where the DA there has a reputation of being a criminal justice reformer. He's someone who is Soros-backed, and he has not filed murder charges yet against the defendant who allegedly killed Kada, and it just in a horrifying set of circumstances where it looks like this defendant had previous encounters with women where he attempted to kidnap them, and he was in fact prosecuted by this same DA's office before, but the victim did not show up for multiple hearings, and so the prosecutor's office dropped the case. And had this defendant been locked up because of that previous case, Kada would still be alive. Now, with that said, as a former prosecutor, if a victim in a case does not cooperate, doesn't show up to hearings or meetings, then most prosecutors would drop these matters. On the other hand, if you have independent evidence against this defendant, and he has clearly a past, then you can go forward with the evidence in the case without the cooperation of the victim. And then one more thing. In Philadelphia, apparently they have bond rules that allowed this defendant in his previous case to get a $200,000 bond, which he was able to fulfill by putting up $20,000 to from a bail bondsman, 10%, and he was out. And because he was out, that we suspect is the reason why the first victim refused to cooperate, because she was so scared that this guy was out and could harm her. So when we all do all the criminal justice reform stuff, let's all remember that there are victims here at stake, and there are real lives at stake, and perhaps Kada should still be alive.
Okay, let me play this shot, and I gotta confess here, guys, this disturbs me. So for the viewers, take a look at this, and then I want to get your reaction to this, Mark. Please play shot one.
Go away, bitch. Don't come over here. Karen, call the cops. Call the... It's all these kids in here. Call the cops, you dumb bitch. He coming around the window. Go that way, Cameron. Yeah, bitch, go away, bye. Go away, bye. Yep, bye.
So Mark, Dave just talked about independent evidence. We got a videotape of that guy's face in the window, and you notice how he stops there and says, "What?" Because she called him a bitch, as if she's somehow out of line. What are your thoughts on this one?
I don't know. My thoughts are, since when did you become such a snowflake that shocked you? I mean, you've seen much worse than that. I remember a case you and I had with a lot worse stuff than that, right? So,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. Let me wait. As far as the snowflake thing goes, that's a video, but we know what he went and did after that. And with Larry Krasner, I'm going to jump on this, guys. Like, that friggin' guy, he's Soros backed. He's a hug him and let him go type. This is one of the consequences. You get a video, and I was a prosecutor for 26 years. Dave was too. You get a friggin' video of a guy like that. To a large extent, you do not care what the victim wants or doesn't want. And what it turned out is that these women were afraid to go into court because he was out of custody, which is, again, prosecutorial failure, endless. And this is just the latest in a Larry Krasner thing. And he admitted we could have done better. That's a fancy way of him saying, we got this young woman killed. So when you're talking about that video, it makes me cringe, because as a DA, and I know Dave's done the same thing, when you have a reluctant victim, you press forward. And in this case, that video disturbs me because the prosecutorial incompetence led to the death of a beautiful young woman. So forgive my snowflakeness. And yeah, I've seen way bigger videos, but that's why that one disturbs me.
I'm going to push back here. You know what? I understand, as the two ex-prosecutors that you guys are, your perspective and the hug me prosecutor and this or that. But you know, when you wrap yourself up in the mantles of the victim's rights, I literally this year have, I think, shown that that is nothing more than a proxy for whatever the prosecutor wants. And I refer refer to the Menendez case. We had uniformly over 20 family members, 20 victims, uniformly saying, this is what we want you to do. And what did our prosecutor, our tough law and order prosecutor who beat the previous hug 'em tight prosecutor and DA do? He ignored them totally. He basically shock and awed them into submission and basically violated the Constitution. So I'm older than you two. And I remember when all of the victims' rights started and all of this stuff. It's a lot in many cases. It's nothing more than just a way for the prosecutors to wrap themselves up in the cloak or the white hat. And I kind of push back against. I push back
Okay, well, I
against that.
appreciate
I'm the
that.
anti.
Well,
Menendez is a story for another day, but your job as a prosecutor at the end of the day, not to step on you, Dave, you're an agent of public safety. That's the job. That guy that we just watched in that video, you do not get a clearer expression of danger. And if you can't predict that that guy is going to do something bad in the future, you suck at your job and you should quit. And the job, and look, certain things with Marcy's Law, we have some points of agreement on that. That guy after that video, went and slaughtered a beautiful young woman. And by the way, how come no homicide has been charged yet? Krasner is slow on the trigger on that. F that guy. Like, dude, pull the trigger and friggin' file murder, because the guy, he burned her car. This was a bad one. This isn't about victims' rights, Mark. This is about public safety. And they didn't have the backbone or the competence to take care of business. And that's a hard thing for prosecutors to do, guys. And we know it. It's like, you've got to balance fairness to the defendant, victims' rights. But the paramount thing is, when you have somebody who's obviously dangerous, as this guy was, you've got to do what you can. They failed and a young woman died. That's my view. But we can talk about Menendez on another day. Dave, I didn't mean to step on you. What are your thoughts?
Yes. Look, when you're a prosecutor, when you're the DA, as I was, you have to make the decision whether you're going to move ahead with a case when the victim does not cooperate. And in a majority of domestic violence cases, in my experience, a majority in our office, the victim does not want to cooperate. Here you have independent evidence. That's the difference. You had that video, and that video is telling. Plus, you had other accusations against this very guy. This guy was a clear and present danger to the community. And for him to walk because you had some victim issues about not showing up, in part because his bond was lower than it perhaps should have been, so he was sprung out to be a free person. I share your concerns, Matt. I also share your concerns with the DA there, Larry Krasner, who is a reform-minded prosecutor. And as much as I've opposed his style of criminal justice reform, I must say he has been reelected by the people of Philadelphia. Now, it's a Democratic primary, closed primary election, but reelected nonetheless.
By the way, how do I sign up for Prosecutors Anonymous? But with you guys and the kind of hang 'em high, or it's the old Texas style where we'll give them a fair trial and then take them out back and hang him. But remember, if they are slow to pull the trigger, give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe there is a problem of proof. You ever thought that there's a potential here that maybe they have real problems of proof?
Nope. Not on this one, Mark. And that can be a lot of times that can be a real problem. And look, I did homicides exclusively for 17 years. I look at this, what I'm reading online, I would have pulled the trigger, and so would anybody in my unit. And if we didn't and somebody got killed, that is probably a righteous career ender. If you didn't have the fortitude to go forward, and that's the problem. We talk about that's Nathan Hochman getting George Gascon out, and that really is something that you and I should talk about one day, Mark. I think people would find it very informative. You and I agree on a lot of things, and that's one that we don't. George Gascon was a blight on public safety in Los Angeles. I live here now. I watched it happen. That guy sucked. He was the former DA of San Francisco. He's the worst thing that happened to public safety in Los Angeles. And he is exactly what Dave said. He was a Soros-backed, hard left, hug him and let him go, no cash bail, all that bullshit. And people died as a result in LA, and people have died as a result in Philadelphia. And this beautiful young woman was one of those people. And I got no stomach for it.